Hello, Word on the Curve family. Welcome back. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Blurberry, and New Pod City, where my producers are Frank and Christina Sasso. Welcome. We've had a few technical difficulties tonight, but I think that we've overcome them. And so we're here. And we're happy to be here with you. We're happy to have you here with us. Get in where you fit in. We invite you to post in our comments section then, now, or then, whenever you come back and join us. Our topic tonight is, do you really want to know? Do you want to know? And so let us begin. Here's what I'd like to say first. There are a few things that we need to discuss first, and that is this. Before you welcome anybody into your life, recognize that sometimes we see people as we want them to be and not as they actually are. And that's a problem for a lot of us. It's how we get in trouble and we don't really get a chance, excuse me, allergies, to get to know the people we're dealing with. And then later on down the line, we'll tell ourselves they're not who we thought they were. Well, you need a chance to know them. Drink water, eat fruit, moisturize your face, hands, and feet. And if it's not your business, mind your own. You can only see things as they really are when you can see yourself in relation to it. Does that make sense? You can only see things as they really are when you can see yourself in relation to where you see yourself in it. And so, one of the things we often ask, the question is often asked is, how long does it take to get to know people? Well, that depends. That depends on how, when, and at what stage you've met them. But scientific studies show, don't take my word for it, look it up, it takes approximately 6 months. Because in that 6 month period, after 3 months, excuse me, I have horrible allergies, the honeymoon phase wears off. And you can see what you're really dealing with. Because after the 3 month stage, the honeymoon wears off. In 6 months, the representative that they've sent to meet you, you know, that nice person, that person who has it all together, that person who just really seems to be on the ball, that representative, in 6 months, they disappear. Within 6 months, they disappear, actually. 3 months, the honeymoon stage is over. And so, one of the things that's really, really important is that before you let somebody in your life, you take the time to get to know who they are. So I'm not going to keep you long tonight, but I am going to share a few things with you um, about some tips on getting to know them. I have a few tips for you. Number one is, don't go into any relationship, no matter what type of relationship it is, with any expectations. Because when you do that, you're going to be disappointed. You absolutely are. And you have to be honest with yourself. And this is, in fact, the opportunity for a mirror moment. And that's the moment where you take the time to look at you. Who are you? He represents the representative. I love it. Yeah, the representative is real. I'll read the comments as we go along if I can. I have to have my glasses on for that, though, or contact lenses, one or the other. But yeah, the representative is real. And the first 6 months, they're active. That representative that shows up to meet you is incredibly active. Remember that. They are. And so, going into any relationship, but especially with a significant other or somebody that you have an interest in, examine yourself first. Take a look at yourself and remember to go into it, be honest with yourself and enter into that, tread carefully and enter into it respecting your gut feelings. Yeah, because guess what? That's usually what we ignore, our gut feelings. Oh, maybe I'm overreacting. Oh, maybe that's not really who they are. Oh, um, maybe I misread that. Trust your gut. Your gut is going to put you right where you need to be every single time. That's our internal GPS, and we often ignore it. And it doesn't mean us any harm. It's simply alerting us. That's what it's there for. And so, don't ignore your gut feelings. That's number one. Number two is when you are in the presence of somebody that you want to get to know, be present. That's simple enough, right? When you're in their presence, be present. Pay attention. Number three, listen to their words and watch what they do. I'm going to say that again. Listen to their words and watch what they do, because what you want to know is, do the words align with the action? See that GPS again. I'm telling you, can't get enough of it. God's protection services. Can't get enough of it. The gut. Pay attention to what they say and what they do. Yep. What they say and do, not just what they say. When they send a representative in the first 6 months, that getting to know you phase, they are putting on their best behavior. But within those 6 months and shortly thereafter, they'll show you who they really are, even if it's not their intention. It doesn't necessarily have to be their intention to show you that, but it'll happen. It's just, it's the universe, it's natural. People can only hide for so long. And the mistake we make is not paying attention. That's all. It's not complicated. Do you really want to know who they are? These are tips. Put them in your back pocket. That's loose change, we call it, to use when you're trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. So listen to the words and pay attention to the actions. Do they align? That's right. And if they don't, ignoring it will not change it. That's right. Ignoring your gut, ignoring their actions and their words being a mismatch will not change because you're uncomfortable with it. It won't. It'll just get worse. Number three, who do they associate with? That's a tough one. Who do they affiliate with? Who do they align themselves with? Who? Who is it? You need to pay attention to that. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. Association leads to assimilation. That's right. My mother told me, and I'm sure a grandmother, aunt, uncle, or mother told you too, even a father. Association will eventually lead to assimilation. Don't get it twisted. Next, how do they treat other people? I think one of the things that amazed me the most is whenever I was in a mediation with somebody regarding an issue that they were having, one of the things that surprised me the most was when they said, they really surprised me. I've known them for 15 years and they surprised me. They didn't surprise you. You didn't pay attention. They've been there all along. You've been looking around, as Patty says, and they were there all along. They were. Pay attention to how they treat other people, especially other people who can't do anything for them. Pay attention to how they treat them. It makes a difference. It absolutely does. Next, How do they spend their time and money? Now some of you are going to say, well, how am I going to know that? I mean, I'm just meeting them. Pay attention. Take your time and get to know them. The biggest mistake we make is ignoring our gut and rushing into things that we want or think we need to be permanent. Everybody you meet and everybody you deal with is not meant to be permanent. Sometimes they're just meant to be an association or somebody you meet who teaches you a lesson. You will determine how deep that lesson is. Simply pay attention. Don't ignore your gut. I'm going to say that over and over again because, again, one of the biggest things I find is that we ignore our gut. Yeah, we do. We ignore our gut. So, how do they spend their time and money? Don't you want to know? That's right. If they're hanging around with bank robbers, don't think that sooner or later robbing a bank or being a part of robbing a bank is not going to be of an interest to them. It is. They're not hanging around people who are robbing banks, and that's not something they're interested in. They're not hanging around lawyers and they have no interest in law. They're not hanging around people who don't live right and they're trying to live right. They don't do that. Mm-mm, they don't. So pay attention to their affiliations and how they spend their time and money, how they treat each other, their associations. Pay attention to all of that because then you're going to get to see who the real person is. And it may not be comfortable. I'm not telling you it's going to be comfortable. I'm telling you you're going to get to know who they are. That's right. And finally, excuse me, what do they read? Do they read? What do they watch? And what do they listen to? Because I know every single one of you are aware of subliminal messages. And even if you think you're not listening, subliminal messages are those messages that get in and impact you indirectly. Why do you think music has such a big impact on kids? Why do you think kids are able to learn better, especially younger kids, when you teach them through music? Subliminal messages. No kid learns the alphabet better than A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's not A, B, C. It's music. And most often, music is what feelings sound like. And music promotes feelings. Remember that. So some of that bad music that everybody got involved with, hip hop had on one hand a good impact and on another hand a bad impact. The bad impact because I think that may have been the beginning of when music became derogatory to women, to each other, to communities, and other people. The lyrics of hip hop, in many instances, not all, disclaimer, many instances, not all, became derogatory to us and our culture. That's right. So, music. What do they read? Do they read? Would you consider having a long term relationship with somebody who doesn't read at all? Somebody who only listened to or was interested in movies where folks were unaliving each other? Would you? Probably not. Not consciously, anyway. So pay attention. Let's run it down again. No expectations. Be honest with yourself. Know who you are. Know what you want going into the relationship. It doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. If you really want to get to know people, for who they are without diving deep is simply a matter of paying attention and trusting your internal GPS, God's protection services, also known as your gut. Don't ignore it. And when you're in their present, when you're in their presence, be present. Listen to the words. Do the words and the actions align? These are the tips. You can come back and listen to this later if you choose, but these are the tips. Do the words and actions align? You have to watch what they do. Who do they associate with? What's their biggest affiliation? How do they treat others? How do they treat their mother? How do they treat their sisters? So, this podcast belongs to men and women. Do you really want to know who they are? And if you do, what are you doing to 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 learn them? Are you paying attention? Do you know who you are? That's the first thing. Do you know who you are? Do you know what you want? Whether it's a business relationship, a work relationship, a lover, a spouse, whoever. Do you want to know who they are? I'm giving you some serious stuff here, and it's not complicated. How do they treat others? How do they spend their time and money? What do they read, listen to, and watch? You just got it. It's just that simple. Pay attention. And remember, when meeting others, your representative shows up too. That's why that mirror moment before you get into it is so important. Figure out who you are, what you want, and what you're looking for. And that's in all relationships. Again, my name is Annette. I am your host here at Word on the Curb podcast. Thank you for joining us this evening. Do you really want to know who they are? Ask yourself that question, because sometimes we're willing to accept people no matter who they are and then suffer the consequences later. Be well. Have a good night. Thanks for joining me.